Hello all. In the previous class, we have learned three different types of CSS: inline, internal or embedded, and external. We have also seen the general syntax of CSS. And this CSS syntax is made up of two parts: a selector and a declaration block. The selector is followed by a curly brackets. Into the curly brackets, we have the declaration block. The declaration block is made up of property and value. Properties and values are separated by colon, and multiple properties or declaration blocks are separated by semicolon. And we have also seen how to apply this in our HTML web pages. And the previous class ended with an assignment for students. That is, students had to apply all the three different types of CSS for a single web page. And many children might have practiced the same either on a notebook or using a desktop or laptop. And you all might have a question in your mind. If we use all the three types of CSS in our web pages, then the text will get, or the tag will get, the effect of which type. So, in today's class, we will try to understand this concept. So, let us discuss today precedence of styles. Now, what do we mean by precedence of styles? If we apply more than one style to a page, then the type of style that should be considered most important is known as precedence of styles. That is, the order in which styles are placed determines which style rule takes the highest precedence. And the better understanding of precedence of styles will help us to create more organized and manageable codes. Students should note an important point. The nearest or the closest style rule to a particular tag will always win. That means if we have multiple effects for a single tag, then the effect which is closest to the tag will get applied to the text surrounded by the tag. We will try to understand this practically. So I have already kept few notepads ready, and my notepads will carry the general syntax of HTML with some tags, few tags, some p tags, some division tags, some font tag. That's it. I have two notepads ready here. Okay, one named as external style1.html and the other one named as default.html, right? Now, I have not applied any CSS or any attributes to any of these tags. So let us start understanding precedence of styles. We have basically three different styles, but beyond that, in the previous class I have mentioned we also have browser default styles. Now, what is browser default style? If this is our notepad which carries an HTML structure and gets saved with an extension of .html, let us observe the output for this code. Observing. Now, always children should remember, browser interprets information from the top to bottom. That means, reading from the top, we have the header section. Our HTML structure is divided into two sections, the header section and the body section. That is the content of the web page. The header section includes the title and the title clause, where we write the title for a web page, correct? So, in our current web page, that is default.html, the title is precedence of styles. Then two p tags, two division tags. Let us observe the output. First, we have the title getting displayed as precedence of styles. then 2p tags effect and 2 division tags effect. That means the browser always interprets the information from top to bottom. And we were discussing browser default styles. That is, even if we do not apply any styles to our notepads, to our web pages, when the web pages are displayed in the browser window, they will take the browser default styles. That means, look at the text. We did not provide a color as black or white or any other color. But by default, the text is getting displayed in black color with a white background, right? This is, every browser will have its own inbuilt CSS. And that is why the text is getting displayed in this particular style of writing or size or color. Okay. Now let us understand one by one. See, I've written here browser default styles. Every browser has its own default style. Those style rules get applied when no styles are applied to a page. Okay. Now let us understand one by one external, internal, and inline. So first we will apply external CSS to our code. Okay. How do we apply external CSS? We will not disturb our notepad, right? We will not disturb our notepad. The current notepad will carry only the structure of HTML. We will open a new notepad where we will write all the CSS syntax. That is, which type of styling we want to give to which type of tag. So in this new notepad, which I have named as style.css, I will include pure CSS. That is the CSS syntax, a selector and declaration block. Selector will be the name of the tag. So if I want to give a background color to my web page, my selector should be body. Then I'll write curly brackets and I'll give background dash color, some light color. So I'll say silver, semicolon, curly bracket, close. When I want to give style to the P tag, I'll write P, curly brackets open. Okay, I want to give a background color to the paragraph in the web page. Background dash color, colon, I will say cyan. I want to give the color to the text in the web page. So my property is color, and a color I'm writing magenta, semicolon, curly bracket close. I want to give a style to the division also. So div, my selector is div, curly bracket open. And I want to give a color to the text. So color, and I'll say blue. And I want to change the font size. So I'll say font dash size, say 14 point, semicolon, curly bracket, close. I hope the code is correct. So I'll save my style.css, correct? Now I'll save this notepad also and let us observe the output. See, this is default.html. I'll refresh it. Did you observe any changes in the notepad? No. Why? Because what did we do? We have created an external style sheet, correct? We have created an external style sheet with the name style.css and our notepad is named as default.html. We have we have used the selectors and told the selectors to apply these styles. But did we create a relation between both of them? This is a different page and style.css is a different page. There is no connection between them. So we need to create a link between them if I want to apply external CSS, right? And to create a link, I need a singular tag called as link. And the link tag is included in the header section, that is between the head and the head close. So I've written link, type is equal to what type of linking I'm doing? I'm applying text or CSS, relationship is equal to, I'll say, style sheet. And what will be the reference file? From where am I applying style to my web page, to my HTML notepad? From an external CSS file which is named as style.css. Correct? Now I'll save, Control S, and let us refresh our web browser. Observing? Okay, let us look at the style tab code. So this is my style code. Correct? Okay. Let us place it here. Now, I have applied body background color silver. So the whole web page has a background color silver. P tag background color cyan. The two paragraph tags have background color cyan and text color magenta. Then division tag, only the text color blue and font size 14. All are applied. Understanding? Okay, so this is how we have applied external CSS. Correct? Now, I want the same external CSS, that is all my web pages. If I have a second notepad, if I have a third notepad, I have 10 particular web pages in my single website, and I want all the 10 pages to look alike. Okay, so let us change, or let us refresh and check. Is it getting applied? No. Why? Because in the first notepad, I have returned the link tag. If I have created one external CSS, I have linked it to my default.html. I should copy this link and paste it in my all the 10 pages where I want the same kind of styling to get applied. Correct? So I'll say Control S, and now let us observe the output. See, external style1.html, I'm refreshing. Applied, right? Only this text we define all the styles is coming in black, because here this text is surrounded by font tag, and in our external CSS we have not applied any style for the font tag. So if you want, I'll apply a style for the font tag. Font, curly bracket open, I'll say color red, I'll say font dash size 16 point, semicolon, curly bracket close, Control S. Let us refresh, getting applied. I'll come back to the first code and refresh. See, there will be no changes because in the first default.html, there was no font tag. Understanding? So that means in our external style sheet, okay, that is external style sheet where we are writing pure CSS, we can apply all the CSS features for all our tags, and we can link this external style sheet to our different web pages. So only the tags which are present will get the effect, right? So this is the best way of doing applying CSS to our web pages. Correct? Now I have written here external styles. They are styles that are placed in the external sheet, and external styles override browser default styles. Observed? Earlier we had browser default styles. When we applied external, the browser default styles are overridden by the external styles. Okay. Next, let us understand in the same notepad or in the same code, let us apply internal CSS. Okay. And observe the output. So if I want to apply internal CSS, I should use style as a pet tag, where inside the header section. Correct? So I've used style as a pet tag inside the header section. Between this style and style close, what should I do? I should write the general syntax of CSS, and the general syntax of CSS says selector, curly bracket, property, colon, value, semicolon, property, colon, value, curly bracket close. Correct? So I want to give a style to P. My selector will be P. Enter. Curly bracket open. I'll say background dash color, I'll make it pink, and The text color, I'll make it green. Curly bracket, close. I have another tag div. For that also I'll say curly bracket and text color. I'll say, okay, what did I apply earlier? In the style, I had applied blue and 14 point. Okay, here I'll say red and 16 point. Control S, enter, curly bracket and Control S. Correct, save. So I will refresh my default.html. Observing default.html refreshed. Now what happened? Earlier, the p tag and the division tags had different styles. Now observe whatever we have written in style and style close, that is internal CSS got applied to all these tags. Why? If you remember, when we introduced, when I was trying to explain precedence of styles, I said a very important point. The tags which are, or the style rules which are closest to a particular tag element, that will win, or that is that will get applied. So observe, to these tags the closest style is written in the style tag. Correct? Right? First, always the browser will interpret from top to bottom, so it will read this, then it will read this h reference is equal to style.css. It will fetch where is style.css. Okay, and it will apply this to all these tags. Then coming down, it will read the style tag and again apply these styles to our tags. Right? That is why, if you observe, in between the style and the style close, whatever we have written, whatever we have written, that is getting applied here. Correct? Right? Now what we'll do, I'll remove this Control X. I'll remove the link tag and place it below and say Control S. And again refresh my web page. Now what happened? We have written background color pink. Is it coming pink? No. Then what is getting applied? See, background color, cyan color, magenta. The external style got applied. Why? Because now to these tags, the closest style is present in external CSS. Correct? That means if I cut this and I place it on top, then what will happen? Again, I'll show you the output. We will have internal CSS getting applied, right? That means internal CSS overrides external CSS. So internal has a higher priority than external. External has a higher priority than browser default, right? Now, if I want all my web pages to look similar, to look in this manner, then what should I do? I should copy this style and style close and paste it where? In our second notepad also. Correct? And say Control S and refresh. Observing both the pages. See, same kind of style, right? Chalo. So if we have understood this, now let us move forward and understand how to apply inline style to the same page. So I will open default.html and let us apply inline styles. I will apply it to the first p tag and say, how do I apply inline styles? Whenever we are working with inline styles or we want to apply inline styles, we need an attribute called as style. Style becomes a global attribute, correct? Inside every tag which is written in the body and the body close. That is, if you want to apply inline CSS, you should use the style attribute only in a particular tag, okay, to which you have decided to apply the style. In double quotes, I have to write property colon value. So what should I change? Okay, I'll again change the background color only. I'll show you background color. I have written, say, yellow, and text color, I'm making it cyan, semicolon. Control S. I'm not doing it for any other tags. Okay. And to the first refresh. Observe the first P tag has a background color as yellow and the text color as cyan, that is a shade of blue. We had written earlier to this P tag, we had written background color pink, but it is applied to the second P tag but not to the first. Why? Because if you observe this text, to this text, the closest style is inline, correct? The closest style is this. So this text will take this style. Whereas the second P tag, to the second P tag, the closest style is internal CSS, correct? Right? So it will take the effect of internal. I hope this is clear, right? So what did we understand? If I use all the three types of styles in our same page, what did we understand? We understood that inline takes precedence over any other style sheet. Okay, that means inline style has the highest precedence, then embedded or internal, then external, and then browser default. Okay, so I've mentioned everything in the slide. You can read slowly. If this point is clear, let us move ahead. Today, we'll also understand a very small topic called as comments in CSS. That is, what are CSS comments? What are comments? We all know comments are never executed by a browser. They are only a part of the code. And they are basically written or used to explain our code. Comments are used to explain our code, and it may help us when we want to edit the source code at a later stage. Say I've created a code today, and after 6 months maybe I'm again opening the same code and trying to work on it, and then I don't remember, I have used many variables, I don't remember what is the use of each of these variables, right? Or maybe some part of the code I don't remember. So when you want to explain your code, or maybe when you want to edit your code at a later stage, you can always apply comments and keep, because comments will not be executed by your browser. They are non-executable part of your code. I've mentioned here, they are non-executable part of your code and they are ignored by the browser. And CSS has only CSS comments. Only one single type of comments are available in CSS, and they are written in this manner. They begin with / and an asterisk, end with asterisk and a /. For example, I've put up an example here. If you want, I'll go back to the code and show you. Okay, here I can write a comment. To write a comment, I need a / and asterisk, and I'll say this is internal style, and I'll close the comment. Control S. Let us refresh our page. Any changes? No, correct? Because this part of the code, which is placed in / and asterisk and /, this part of the code will not be read by the browser. It will not be executed by the browser. These are CSS comments which are non-executable. So this is a very short topic. I thought I'll cover it in this session. Now, I hope we have understood the meaning of precedence of styles, right? So if you want to override browser default CSS or browser default styles, we need to use external CSS, correct? And the advantage of using external CSS is they maintain the consistency of your web pages, and the content is always interpreted from the top to bottom, right? And when we are using internal CSS will override the external CSS, and inline CSS will override internal CSS, right? Because they get applied only to the selected tag in which they are written. Okay. So I hope precedence of styles is very clear. So in today's class, in this video, we will stop here and we'll meet in the next video with a new topic called as types of selectors. I'll just introduce. We have 4 different types of selectors called as tag selector, ID selector, class selector, and contextual selector. And if you all have understood, we have already covered the first topic called as tag selector. Right? What is tag selector? This is tag selector. See, when the name of a tag is used as a selector. So we have done internal and external CSS, right? Where we use the selector as the name of a tag followed by property colon value or the declaration block. So we have already learned the first type of selector called as tag selector. Okay. So let us stop here. Next class, we will learn all the 3 different types of selectors. So keep sharing and keep studying, keep learning. Thank you.